always breaking it down in the background as this thing goes down. I'm gonna need to come up with a theme song. If somebody is a musician who watches us, a rapper or something, please let me know. What's good, conceited motherfucker? Thank you for joining. I do hope you join with a dating disaster story or ask for some dating advice. The link is in the comment section. I have pinned it on the top. So if you want to join this week's show, I encourage people to come on. Don't be shy. We don't fight. But welcome to another episode of Fuck Your Feelings, the show. It was a busy week for this show. I had 3 shows last week. Twins did 2 with me. What did you think of our interview on Sunday, Twins?
Very interesting. No, it was good. It was good. We took over the show, to be honest with you. So
you guys, listen, I was all about it. I rewatched it today. I thought it was such a good show. He's definitely invited to come back on and have a discussion. You know, you guys don't need me clearly, but it was a fantastic show, and I encourage people to come on. We do not fight. We are here to change the conversation around Black relationships. I thought it was a good show. I loved some of your perspectives. I can't wait to put out some of these clips. Everyone, if you missed Sunday's show, I interviewed a former Kendra G guest called Mike Speaks. The comments called him a well-groomed and well-spoken Pookie. He was definitely well-spoken, well-groomed. I would not consider him a Pookie, but I think sometimes my opinion doesn't count because I'm not American, so people say that I can't have an opinion about what a Pookie is, but whatever. I didn't find him to be a Pookie. And then Saturday, I interviewed another Kendra G guest, Courtenay, and that was a very insightful. So please go and watch those 2 conversations, share, subscribe, follow, like all of those good things. How was your weekend, Twins?
Weekend was good. Week is even stronger. No
I
complaint.
love that. It's Tuesday. I love that you're saying that on a Tuesday. You said the week is even stronger. Okay, Mr. Positivity.
Gotta speak it. You gotta put it out there. You already know.
Amen. Amen. We got to put it out there. I hope everyone who's watching your weekend has been well. And thank you for those who are joining us. I see that we already have people here. You know, shout out where you're from. I think everybody knows where we're from. I live in Toronto, born in Jamaica. Twins lives in Atlanta, from Philly, right, Twins?
Correction. I live in Atlanta, Georgia, but I'm from Pittsburgh, PA.
Pittsburgh. Yeah. I knew it was a P. For some reason, Philly came to mind, but it's Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. What was that like? Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh.
Not much. It's cold in the winter, you know. Still a country, so you know, best football team in the world. So that's one thing I can say about Pittsburgh.
I appreciate that. Go Steelers, go.
Yeah.
I own that. Okay, so dating disasters and dating advice. So we are here to talk about our own dating disasters. I have a video, 2 videos actually to play from a young lady who's been going viral on the internet. We spoke about her a couple of weeks ago. She's the catfish lady people have been talking about. Well, she's back, and she's back in a big way. Let's just say I won't say the word I used to describe her to Twins until after we show the video. Twins, you're shaking your head. What's up?
It's the big part. No pun intended.
Sorry. We're gonna be nice tonight, I swear. But we are gonna be talking dating disasters. We're gonna be talking dating advice. If you wanna have any advice, if you want to give us any advice, we're back to dating. Maybe you guys have some advice for us. But how do you want to do it, Twins? Do you want to talk about our couple of our dating stories first, or show this woman talk about her date?
Well, as far as dating disasters, I don't have any disasters.
Boo! Just joking.
The only disaster I might have is that, you know, it didn't end with the lady come up to my place. That may be the only disaster for me.
You know what? Okay. All right, ladies. Y'all listen, this is why we do this show, man and woman, to get this advice. I've got one. I don't know if I've had terrible dating stories, but I've had some interesting one. You know, rest in peace to my father, because he used to hear my dating stories, and my dad would give me a lot of advice, and my dad was very old school. in many ways in terms of, what a man should do for his baby girl. And, so there were a couple my father was like, absolutely not. So I'll talk about one of the first ones. So this one was interesting. So I've said to people, I was online dating before online dating. Hey, Shelby, haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. What's going on? Nice to see you. So my dating disaster. So I've talked on the show. I was online dating before online dating was ever a thing. So I was on, the Black Planets, the MySpaces, and so forth. And, right, I'm aging myself. But people were hanging, like people were getting to know each other. Like if you even watch some of the Catfish episodes, that's how some of them actually met on, those back in the day Black Planet. Some people were meeting on Messenger. But anyway, so I think this one might have been Plenty of Fish, POF. I think I met this gentleman on Plenty of Fish. And I won't lie, I'm one of those people who I need to feel a vibe, I need to feel energy, I need to speak to you. Like, I don't need a free meal. I say to people all the time, I know how to cook. I've been cooking since I was a young teen. So I don't need to go to anybody's restaurant to get a free meal. And so when I hang out with you, I want to make sure that it's not a waste of my time or a waste of your time. And I've been like that for most of my life, I would say. So anyways, this gentleman was, asking me out. My type, anybody knows, I like a tall man. So my type is always a man over 6 feet tall, athletic, well-spoken, well-dressed, well-groomed, educated. You know what? He'd asked me out and I finally said yes. Now, I'm also a big sports fan. So I love basketball in particular, ran track for 12 years. So I love track, but I'm a huge ball fan. Go Celtics, go. And the Raptors, of course. But the Celtics are actually in the playoffs. So we won't talk about that sensitive spot. Anywho, so he was like, hey, want to hang out? I was like, it is playoff season. The Celtics are in the playoff. If you can find a spot where we can watch the game, I'm cool with that. I don't care what it is, as long as they'll put the game on. So he calls me back. He's like, cool. It's going to be at Boston Pizza. I don't know if you guys have Boston Pizza in the US, but Boston Pizza is a restaurant chain, clearly a pizza chain. I had never been, but they were having the game, so I didn't care what they were serving. I figured nachos, wings, whatever. I was going to be able to watch the game. So we go, we're watching the game. We're having a good time. We're having a good conversation. And then the bill comes. And he puts down a portion of it. And then he says, oh, you can pay the rest. And I was like, okay, cool. I mean, you've been asking me out for months. I finally say yes. We're at this little pizza wing place. You want me to pay the rest? Whatever. So I take my money out. I'm a little annoyed because I am a woman who paying for dates is not something that I generally do. So he looks at me and he says, the reason I'm telling you to pay for the date is because you're going to remember me. He says, you're the type of woman that men spoil and you get your own way. And he gives me this whole rundown, right? Men are just so happy to be with me and happy that I'm going out with them that they want to spoil me. But a man like him, I'm going to remember because he made me pay. He then proceeds after I put the money down. Now, I would have walked away then, but the game was still on. I'm be honest. I stayed for the game. The game was still on. I think it was in the third. It's like, fuck this. I need to finish this game. It's playoff season. He then proceeds to start a new tab. So he starts a new tab after telling me this whole thing about, remembering him. And I do clearly remember him. I do clearly because I'm telling the story.
Right.
And then have the nerve to ask me out on another date as this date was wrapping up. And I will tell you, this is the first time I have walked out on an NBA playoff game ever. I didn't even wait for the fourth to finish. I said, thank you very much. Got my stuff, got my car, and went home. My father said I waited too late. My father said the moment he started speaking, I should have gotten my stuff up and made him pay all the bill, because how dare he expect his daughter to pay after all of that. So that was one of my dating disasters. I don't remember his name, but I definitely remember him.
Well, I mean, mission accomplished based on what he said was going to happen. You don't remember him, and that's years ago. So you do remember him.
I do remember him because he was one of the few people. Well, he was the only person that's ever pulled that. Like listen. I am a big believer. Whoever asks pays. So I will give you that. I'm a big believer, even in a relationship, right? In my previous relationships, if I was the one who was asking my man to do something, I knew I would pay. So whether it was going to a baseball game, I paid for trips. Like, hey, I want to go to Vegas. And I'd be like, don't worry, like, I'll pay. Like, we'll go, whatever. Normally, they chip in and do whatever, but I'm like, it's my treat because I'm the one who wants to do this, right? So I do believe in who asks pays. So for me, it was like, you're asking me out, I say yes, and then you turn to me and say that I have to pay half, and then proceed in front of me to start a new tab. Sir.
I would say he was ahead of his time because that would probably fly now in today's dating. And on top of that, that's funny. And on top of that, women now, they're asking guys to go out to get something to eat, right? The woman who's initiated, but they're still expecting the guy to pay. I think I sent you a video a week on that.
I have that clip, and if I have a second, I might pull up my iPad and attach it. I just have to. It's on my iPad actually. So if I can find that, if I can grab my iPad in a second, I might upload that clip as well. I'm talking about it on my other show tomorrow. So yes, there is absolutely women who will ask men out and then expect them to pay. And that's just not my thing. Like, generally, I am not asking a man out. That's not my thing. I do it in relationships. So I am the person in the relationship. I'm like, hey, babe, again, I want to do this. He may not be into it. Like, I like baseball. I don't know a lot of men that like baseball. So if I'm like, hey, babe, I want to go to the baseball game, my treat, I'm a biased, like some really good seats, buy the dugout or something, or buy first base, because I'm a good dater. Like, my dates are amazing. Like, I won't lie, I plan great dates for my man. But if you're courting me, I'm not paying.
I understand. It makes sense.
Not paying. What about, so you say you have no dating disasters other than women not coming home with you and giving you that thing?
Right. Because, I spent all that money up to the date and so that. So yeah, that might be the only disaster thing I had.
I'm done.
I never had any problems where no, I had never no problems.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Nothing, like just nothing, not conversations not going well, not a woman just completely turning you off, like just nothing, Mr.
Well, because I kind of get to know my ladies before I take them out and go on a date. I just don't take someone that I don't know at all on a date. Like, I have to know you, either work with you, see you around, have conversations, then we go on a date.
I respect that.
I'm not gonna be like, hey, how you doing? You're beautiful. Let's go out to eat. And then we sit down and talk and there's nothing to talk about, or we just don't get along, or it's a bad conversation.
I respect it. I am the same way, but every once in a while I get an okie doke. SB is saying if someone asks or initiates a date, the assumption is that they will pay. 100% agree. That is, I absolutely agree with. And yes, most of the time it is the man who initiates the date, so the assumption he is paid. But I always know that if I'm asking, if I'm saying, hey, let's go hang out on a random day, hey, I want to do something, that whatever is going on, I'm going to pay. And it's here's the thing, women, we ask for equality, right? This is what equality. That's what equality looks like. Like, damn that woman. I just want to punch her in the throat. The woman who wanted us to like work and all that shit. Like, nobody asked for that, but I digress. But this is what not even equality. My favorite word is actually reciprocity, right? Like, this is what reciprocity looks like in a relationship. A relationship isn't the man just does this or the woman just does that. And as much as I believe in gender roles, and I do, in my previous relationships, I've had gender roles. In my marriage, I had gender roles. It was he did the man stuff and I did what was traditionally considered the woman stuff. But when it came to caring and loving on each other, we definitely cared and loved on each other. And it had nothing to do with what societal things are supposed to say. If I want to take my man on a trip and fly him out to Vegas, that's what I'm gonna do. Right? I love my man because guess what? Like, I'm gonna get back tenfold. And I think that's what a lot of women in today don't get, right? When you give to a man, he multiplies it. I know it's traditionally said that with women, you know, give a woman a house and she makes a home or whatever it is. But I can tell you in my situations, when I've given to a man, they've given me back much more than I've ever given them. Twins, thoughts about that?
Um, it's not really taught to people this day or taught to the ladies today. What you're saying that you give a guy something that gives more. I mean, that's true. I'll say this as far as men, and once again, I like to say this: not all men, most men. We don't have a problem with spending money or treating or doing this. We really don't. We really don't. If we honest with y'all, we really don't mind spending the money. But when you make it all about money, that's when it becomes irritating. Because, like, all right, what else do you care about besides what I can do for you, right? In a sense, what can you do for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because once again, we'll go out. We'll go. Jay-Z had a song a long time ago, right? At the power of the PUSSY, guys get dressed and fly. We do everything for you ladies. Everything that God do is for the ladies. We get nice cars. We get haircut. We get dressed fly, name brands, everything for you. Okay. So most men, we don't care about that part, but we do want companionship, and we don't want to feel used, even though that we are being used. But we know that, but we want to feel used. If that
But
makes sense.
but here's the thing, every you're using each other in many ways, right? Like if you're not being used, you're not useful, right? Like at the end of the day, I always say every date is a down payment on sex, right? And depending on how much money the man has, the down payment is just a little bit larger depending on the man, right? Like I understand that every man wants to take me out. He eventually wants to have sex with me. He's not taking me out so he can just spend his money, right? And I've gone on some really amazing dates. Like I've been thoroughly blessed. I will say thoroughly blessed in my dating experience. I don't have a lot of complaint, and I also understand, like, again, it's a down payment, and this is why I generally don't try to take it beyond a couple of dates if I get to the point where I'm feeling like, you know what, this is just never going to be, like, he's never going to get what it is that he ultimately wants, and I just don't want to waste this time. So I don't tend to do that. But anywho, I'm gonna get into this clip because we don't get into the part of the show. So there was, again, a young lady who's gone viral. We talked about her a couple of weeks ago, catfishing. She wanted to update people on what is going on in her life, and we have two clips. We're gonna play the first clip where she's talking about the update and then the aftermath of the update. So here we go.
Hey guys, I am going on my date today. I have my hair by Lainey Monet. She gives me a wait for just for being so kind. She gives me that. I have this beautiful dress. I have this necklace. I love this necklace. My sister gave it to me a while back. And I am wearing a beautiful matte lip. And I can't wait. I'm so excited. You guys know I just moved. So I was talking to this guy for a little bit, and I can't wait to go. I'm so excited. I feel so beautiful. I can't wait. And I want to thank everyone that's been supporting me on the journey, even when TikTok want to block my live, but it don't matter. I wanted to go live and get dressed up with everyone, but they had other plans, TikTok. But I can't wait for my date. I'm gonna update you guys. We are going to the Boulevard, and we're going to have fun. We're gonna be at Clematis, so I am so excited. Wish me luck, and yep, another 360. Thank you, Lainey Monet. She is so kind for giving me a free wig. I look beautiful. I feel beautiful. And yes, love you guys. Mwah.
Huh? Was that a drool? Was she drooling? Like, was she that excited about to go out? And was she drooling? Am I the only one that saw that? I'm sorry.
I'm going to be nice because I said I'm on the guest list to heaven. I'm trying to be on the guest list to heaven, and I'm on the guest list to heaven. It is clear. It is
exactly what's wrong. Thank you. Because I was like, what's going on there?
You know what, conceited motherfucker? I'm just gonna let conceited motherfucker talk for me tonight because I'm not trying to lose my spot on the guest list to heaven. I've worked really hard, had to repent a few sins. I appreciate her excitement because it is not easy to be embarrassed on Beyonce and Blue Ivy's good internet and then turn around and still provide people updates on your life, right? She became a meme, I believe. I know there was a bunch of reviews about her on YouTube and TikTok and people doing stuff. So I will give her, she has the confidence of a woman who does not look like her. So God bless her that she's able to do that. Couldn't be me. So God bless her. Now, how do you think her date went? How do you think her date went, Twin?
Well, it depends because I don't know what pictures the man saw, right? So I hopefully he didn't get catfished like the first person did, right? So I mean, she did dress very well. So if she presented herself as we see her now, it should be okay. But if she presents herself with one of her younger pictures, there's going to be a problem.
Listen, conceited motherfucker is killing me tonight. He says, well, I have a full scholarship to hell waiting on me.
I got me too, because I just can't.
I worked really hard to be on the guest list to heaven, and y'all not gonna make me lose my spot. I didn't tell you what number the spot is, but I got a spot, right? Like, you see me, I'm here. SB said, Granny always told me that there's someone for everybody. Isn't your granny sweet?
Yes. I mean, at the end of the day, let's be honest. You put anything on the internet, it's fair game for everybody. So you sat there, you recorded it, you looked at it, and uploaded it. So I'm sorry. I'm not gonna feel bad for you.
Well, she did provide us an update about her date. Do you guys want to see what the update is? Of course you people want to see. The motherfucker definitely wants to see. So she provided us an update, and this is the update on her date.
It's been about an hour. He changed location 3 times. 3 times. If you're not gonna take this seriously, leave me alone. You went into my DMs and messaged me from BLK. Leave me alone. I put a wig on, I put makeup on. Like, if you're not gonna take this serious, this is my life. Like, everyone is saying, oh, posting this and that. This is my life. This is my profile. If I want to post me trying to go on dates and finding love, I can do that. But don't go with my shit. And they messaged me and said that you want to meet up, and then you changed the location 3 times, and then after that, delete your number and block me from BLK and Instagram and online. Leave me alone.
So once again, when you go on this thing called the internet and you expose yourself to certain things, whatever comes after that's part of the nature. You first go out with somebody, you catfish them, right? For everyone to see, right? So you catfish the first dude, XYZ. You go on another date. Listen, you're going to have trolls. Trolls is going to troll you. She's being trolled now. Every guy's going to sign her DM. They're going to talk nice to her just to go to this place, that place, and that place, because she thinks it's a game, so they're playing games with her. I mean, what do you thought was going to happen? You thought she was going to find love just like that? That easy?
Conceited motherfucker says she's transforming to what? Question mark. I have. Listen, I won't lie. That response scared me. There's a certain Now she might be is it divergent? I think she may have, I don't even know what to call it. I don't know if it's autism or something. But there's definitely, she's not well. I don't even know how to describe this. So it's clear there's something not right with her, but where's her family and friends? Because I think this is getting a little bit too much. I respect that people want to talk about their lives, but get a diary, get a journal. You know, like Instagram is not a therapist. Instagram and TikTok are not therapists. You know, Instagram is not necessarily where you come. If she was on someone's show and she wanted to go on Ilyana Fix My Life and get herself together, but being on Tickety Talk and recording these things, and it's hard for me to feel sorry for someone who it continually exposes themselves for negative feedback to happen, because I think sis knows. The problem is, you know what happened? Risa Tisa happened. Risa Tisa happened. I'm gonna be honest with you. Risa Tisa happened. Risa Tisa told her 50-part story. Women lied to her and rallied around her about how, what the man is awful, which in some parts he is. And when Charlemagne called her a big back, now there's a whole "Get Your Big Back Up," which is by a very funny song, by the way. Right? Like when Charlemagne called her a big back, people said it was awful, and I didn't think it was awful because that was, in my mind, I agree, big back behavior. I didn't even know what big back behavior was before I even saw Risa Tisa. But the moment I saw the first 30 seconds, I was like, I know how this is. Like, why do I need 50 parts to say what happened just by looking at her? But Risa Tisa came out, she went on all of these shows, and I think everyone is looking to be the next Risa Tisa. That's what happened. So, hold on, before you speak, when Shelby says, because of social media, do you think her experience is becoming the norm for the average person who's dating today?
I don't think so.
Quinn?
I don't think so. Because people are dating even right now as we speak. Dating's happening all the time. Everybody's not posting on social media for attention. She wants attention. So there's something, as you said before, that she's dealing with, whatever it may be, but she wants attention. And if she wants to be online, then go on the shows like Kendra G, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You want to meet somebody and find, get put out there, go the right way. Not just posting on your page and expecting that you're going to find love that way. Like, it's not going to work that way for you.
You know what I have to say about that, Shelby? I love sisterhood. I'm all about sisterhood. I've got great relationships with my actual sisters and my besties who are my sisters without the blood. So I support sisterhood. But women, we do a really good job of lying to each other. A really good, fantastic job.
That's a fact.
We lie to each other about so many things, especially when it comes to physical appearance. I don't lie, but then I'm called mean, right? And I'm not a girl's girl because I am not going to lie. I understand the experiences that one has in life when they look a certain way, when they speak a certain way, but more importantly, when they look a certain way. I don't go to the gym 6 days a week just for my health. I go because I understand that having the physique that I do has opened doors for me that otherwise would not be open, because I've witnessed the doors being closed on other women who do not look like me and my friends. Like, I'm not silly enough to think we're all beautiful. No, we're not. We're not all beautiful. And you know what? Like 8s, 9s, 10s have a different experience. 9s have a different experience than 8s. 10s have a different experience than 8s and 9s. So when you're in the lower end of the scale, and no, it's not a white beauty standard, it's just a beauty standard, by the way, people. When you're at the lower end of the scale, you get lower end stuff. And unfortunately, this young lady, whatever she's also battling with, and then her physical appearance, she's on the lower end of the dating scale, and she's not going to have the same experience as someone who's on the higher end of the dating scale. But again, we're now bringing this stuff to social media, and it's a cruel, awful place. Social media is an awful place to bring this to. Awful. I want to just bring that back up again for people to see, because SP's right. Everyone, like I said, is now thinking there's Risa Tisa, right? Everybody's looking for their 15 minutes of fame instead of taking care of their mental health, right? They're looking now for their 15 minutes of fame, and they're not thinking about the long-term impact. This woman just yelled at us on the screen. Did you not see how I jumped back?
And that may be another meme.
Right?
I'm sorry, right? And it all goes down to mental health, right? And now this could be considered bullying if you think about it.
Everything is something. Listen, dating isn't complicated. I say this all the time. Dating is not a complicated process, right? Dating is you meeting someone who likes you as much as you like them, coming together and trying to figure out if you can take that initial like and make it a bigger thing, right? Whether that is a relationship, whether that's marriage, you find out if you have common interests, you build upon those commonalities, you find out about your differences and figure out if you can live with those differences enough to get to a relationship. The issue that I think is happening now with dating is people have a false sense of reality of their value on the marketplace. Because we live in a world of instant gratification, right? She puts out that video and there's a group of women who will coddle her and tell her how awful that man is. And he's a terrible human being and all men are trash, instead of saying, sis, you need to stop and honestly go seek mental health help, because you need to fix yourself mentally, and then you need to fix yourself physically, and then maybe you should go to the dentist and also get your teeth done. If you probably she could break her jaw, get some of those teeth out. I'm not trying to be mean, but that's the reality. We had a friend that had to do that. She had protruding teeth. She broke her jaw. They took some teeth out. They fitted her for braces, and now it changed her whole face. She looks like a whole different person, but we live in a society that coddles women. I'm the mean one for actually giving proper advice. I don't know what to say. No mind you. I don't know.
Nothing wrong with that at all. I think all women, you should keep your sister. You should help. You should be real with your sister. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, if you're in a group, if you got friends, let your friend know. Facts, sexual market. Yes, you should let your girlfriend know, girl, this ain't it. As you stated earlier, y'all will lie to each other. Girl, you look good. You got green hair, your belly sticking out. Girl, you look good. Don't do that. Because we don't do that. Listen, if it's a group of us guys, we hanging out, right? We're going to a club, we're going somewhere, and we all in one place. We all look at each other, and we see one homeboy's shoes messed up. Hey, man, I'm gonna let you wear my shoes. Don't mess them up. Oh, you need a shirt? I'll give you. We share our clothes when we go out and hang out with our fellas, so we all look fresh to death. So no one really has to take one for the team. But with y'all ladies, it'll be a group of y'all, but you have the one girl in your crew, just how she even fit in your crew? And somebody on our team got to take one for the team. But y'all be like, oh, my girls is bad. You know damn well all your girls ain't bad. Why you lying?
You know what? And thank God for my girls, because we do exactly that. We will change clothes. We will do whatever. I have been blessed. I've got a bad starting four. Okay, we have a bad starting four. And to the point of Shelby, our sexual marketplace value, we're good on that. Okay, we absolutely understand what our sexual market, but my friends don't play. If one of us is getting a little fat, we're like, let's get together. We don't play. But that's not what happens often in some of these female relationships, because again, empowerment and female empowerment and baby girl, but people got mad at who was the rapper? They got one of the, I think it's the one that says my man, my man, my man. I forgot what, she's one of them young rappers. Thank you, Sir Hill Speaks. He said salute to the host in the chat. Thank you so much. Right? They got mad at her because she talked about when she's going into a club, she can only bring certain friends because she understands what happens when you go into certain clubs. Certain women are not allowed into certain sections because they don't look the part. And people got mad at her. But I've had that experience. So Live nightclub in Miami in the Fontainebleau. Okay, let me tell you about this place. This place, Miami humbles you. Well, ladies, if you ever want to be humbled, you go to Miami. And not only do you go to Miami, you go to Live nightclub in the Fontainebleau. So we were there back in September of 2022. We've been to Miami back and forth for years, and we generally go with a core group, and we're all very attractive women. A friend of ours invited some of her other friends, who on the scale of attractiveness is on the lower end of the attractiveness scale. So we go to Live. I actually even have the picture. I might pull it up of the picture of the starting four. Okay, it's my starting four. And so we go to Live, we're there, we get in, and I do what I normally do. I find a section I want to be in, and we decided, we wanted to be at the section on the stage. When you go to Live, there is the DJ booth is on the stage, and you've got to walk up a bunch of stairs, and there's a security that's right in the beginning. So you got to pass security to go in to be there. So I go in, I give him a nod, he opens it up. I go in with my starting four. No, I go in with one of my best friends. We call the other ones. I said, we're good, come up. So they come in, and then they're like, oh, I won't even call the lady's name. They're like, such and such can't get in. I'm like, okay, what's that to do with me? Like, you guys are in. You guys are my best friends. I was looking, I said, she brought the rest of them. Like, that ain't got nothing to do with me. They had to pay the bouncer, after about 20 minutes of negotiation, $100 to get the less attractive person that was with us into the section that we were in. So it's whether, listen, Kevin Samuels says it all the time, and now Kendra G is saying it. Your dating pool, the people in your real life is your dating pool. And secondly, your life experiences tells you your sexual marketplace value. Rest in peace to Uncle Kevin Samuels, because that is the truth. Twins.
I agree.
We need to stop lying. So Sir Hill speaks, the issue with female empowerment is that there has not been a push for female integrity, character, and reciprocity, just looks. Speak on that, because I'm going to formulate my thought. Welcome, Sir Hale, to Fuck Your Feelings, by the way. I'd love you to speak on that.
Empowerment. Well, I mean, right now it is only based on looks, right? But there's no other substance past the looks, right? It still goes to what you're saying about, it's the girl, you got it, girl, you good. It's that everyone wants to cheer everybody on, right? No shot to Lizzo, but she walk around with her ass out, and all the women in the world like, oh, girl, it's okay, it's cool, you look good.
It's awful.
But
it's awful.
That's the problem we have. There's no accountability. Like, no, you should not be doing that. You should not be at a basketball game where kids are at and it's on national TV, and we should not see a moon on TV. That's my personal opinion. But there's no integrity, there's no accountability, and if you say something, then guess what? You get canceled.
That's more what it is. I think more what it is the idea of cancel culture. You hear me talk about it on my other show all the time, where we're literally like, what we're about to say is likely going to get us canceled because it doesn't go with the norm, right? You can't say anything about a protected group of people. And now protected groups of people also include fat, unattractive women, right? Like, they're now supposed to be a protected group of people, and you can't talk about them because it's mean, and we're supposed to love everybody and so forth. So, Sir Hale, I get that. I think the issue is, we all know that physical attractiveness, especially in dating, is the first part. That's what gets me through the door. It won't keep me there if my character is awful, but it definitely opens the door for me to be able to walk through it, to then for the man to determine whether or not I'm worthy of staying there. right? And so for a lot of women, they want to feel that character should come first or personality should come first. And that's not been my experience. My personality and my character and my values lets me get a seat at the table, but to even open the door to go into the boardroom, it's my looks that got me there. I mean, we need to just keep it real. And if you unfortunately look like that young woman, oh, it's a hard life for you. However, to SB's point, like the granny says, there is somebody for her. I think a lot of the times what happens is we are thinking that I'm going to try to be nice. It's just.
Well, it's not being nice. It's called what it is. Everyone, she wants more than she wants something that she knows she can't really get, but she feels she's entitled to it. She's entitled to the guy who makes a six figure. She's entitled for someone who's going to take her out and treat her, regardless of how many wigs she put on. We're supposed to accept what she brings to the table. That's the problem. Any man who takes her out is supposed to accept that, one, she lies in her pictures by showing old pictures to catfish somebody. Then when I take you out, then you expecting me to pay for dinner for you when you don't look what you look like and everything else. So that's what it is. There's no accountability. Girl, hey, this is my world. I'll let my plan there. Go ahead.
No, go there. But this is why you're on the show, right? Women need to hear this, right? Because again, I get a lot of flack when I say it, but when the men say it, it's important to know that that's the reality. Like, this is what men are thinking, ladies. And if you want to have a good dating experience, you know what? Like, you need to listen to what men are saying. And please, I'm about to read Shelby's comment, but if you have a dating horror story, a dating disaster story, maybe a great dating story, or you simply just want to come on and ask us a question, dating advice, you can either put it in the chat, but I do have the link pinned in the comment section. So if you're watching this from YouTube, which I know you are, you can look at the comment section and you can actually join and I will accept you. So let me know if you want to come on. So Shelby's saying, my hesitation with dating is that I don't trust that these regular women are being truthful about their end goals. The women I encounter talk like money and money only is their end goal. Twins, I'm going to let you take this one before I go in.
Woo. So yes. So I've been talking to a lot of ladies, right? And they all they talk about was money. And it's like, okay, we know money is important. We need it. You can't eat, you can't buy things. We know it makes the world go around, right? But outside of getting the money, what you gonna do with it once you have all this money? What is your plan with it? And they don't have a plan. It just, they want expensive things. They want to go to the club. They want to dress nice. Okay, it's cool and all, but what else? Because I mean, after I buy you that, at the end of the day, it's like there is no end goal for you. Like, you can have all the bags, you can have your hair done, nails done. What's gonna make you happy? Like, women today don't talk about their happiness or their goals, right? As he stated, they have no goals. They just want to live in the moment. They want to live their best life. They want to live like the girls they see on TV, these rappers, these JTs, these Sexy Red. Like, they get turned up by watching them and want to kind of emulate their lifestyle. I'm like, do you know these women go home and they're unhappy? Like, you know what they have to do to get put on, number one. And then once they're on, other things they got to do to get to the next show, the next producer. Like, do you understand what comes with being in the spotlight? But you're so infatuated with the money. It's like you're blind about the green. But there's no goal to it. And sometimes after money, I like click on to the next one, like swipe and more life.
If first of all, I didn't know who Sexy Red was until I was doing my other show and a young lady broke down crying because she said these 5-year-olds in her ballet class wanted to listen to Sexy Red. I went to find Sexy Red's lyrics online and read them and thought, this is awful, right? Like, I am stuck in about 2005. I'm 44 years old. So I would say if you're talking to a woman who Sexy Red and Glorilla and whomever all of these new age rappers are on their playlist and that's what they want to listen to in the car, your vetting system is off. So to answer the question, Shelby, here is my thing. I truly, and I will say this, Twins and I talked about this, previously. It is important to vet the people you determine, you decide to bring into your life to determine whether or not they are worthy of a spot in your life. I'm a conversationalist. This is why I have this show and another show, right? Like, because I love to talk. And so I ask fundamental questions. I want to know, not surface level questions. I want to know about your family. I want to know how you grew up. I want to know who inspired you. I want to know, because I'm looking for a man who leads by example. I want to know about how you deal with difficult decisions in life. What is the most difficult thing you've encountered? How did you overcome it? The lessons you learned. Like, I'm digging deep, but I'm also intentional in dating. And I want a man who digs deep with me. So if he wants to know about my financial literacy, if we want to talk credit score, right? Like, if a woman is just talking about how much money you make, I married my husband never knowing how much money my husband made. In previous relationships, I couldn't tell you to the dollar and cent how much the men that I was with made. What I knew was about their character and their values and what was important. And again, the way they showed up in my life. So I think we have to really talk about, are we vetting these people that we're bringing to our life to ensure that they're meeting our goals? And if a woman, all she's doing is talking about money, bye. Like, she's clearly not for you because your values don't align. So I think we've got someone here. Let me get my life together. I think we've got someone who's going to join us. Shelby! Shelby is coming on. Let me add Shelby to the stage.
Good evening. Good evening.
Oh, we ain't going to go on camera? This is what we doing?
I got my bonnet on. No.
That was awesome. I love it. Okay, Shelby, hit us. What you got?
No, because of what you just said. That's what made me come on, because that's my worst dating experience, was the fact that I was asking questions that really truly went to the heart of what I thought was letting her know, okay, I have intention here. There's a path I'm walking. There are goals that I want to achieve. There's more things I know I need to acquire in my life. I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm not lackadaisical. Mm-hmm. But literally what ended the date, and when I say what ended the date, I put my hand in the air to let the server know to bring the check. I'm good. She literally said to me, black woman, beautiful black woman, 42-year-old black woman, said to me after, and this was the question. I asked her, I say, okay, so at this point now, you're a CNA and you say you want to go back to school to be a nurse. How far do you want to take your nursing career? You know, you're at this age, your children are teenagers. How far you want to take this career? And she literally answered the question with, why are you so freaking intelligent? Like, and she didn't use the word freaking. I'm just saying that. She said, why are you? Yeah, she was like, why are you so freaking intelligent? Like you read books and everything. You think I'm just like, I'm a dummy? You think I don't know where I want to go in life? I said, I never asked you that. I never made that statement. I'm just asking a basic question. Well, I don't need you to think that you're better than me. I don't need you to talk to me like I don't know anything. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then that's when I raised my hand and I asked for the check. And I told her, I said, you know what? I apologize if I made you feel any kind of way. I apologize if if I came across like, I'm W.E.B. Du Bois, but at the end of the day, I have something I need to accomplish. And there's a person that I need next to me that needs to understand that. And so, but that wasn't my worst. That was by far my worst dating experience. That was the most recent. My worst, I got accused of being a homosexual because I was.
Pause. Actual pause. Just pause. I really need to hear that one. I've got to address that one, and then I need to hear the other one. So first of all, thank you for coming on, Shelby. I'm going to actually go first in this one. Ladies, please stop bringing your insecurities about yourselves into dating situation and then projecting that onto your date. That had nothing to do with you, Shelby. That was her own insecurity. She's upset about the choices that she's made in life, and she felt that you were challenging her. And at 42 years old, she definitely feels that she should be further in life. And the fact that you're asking her, it's a challenge to her because she's looking at all of her past decisions that she's made and her choices and recognizing they've landed her where she is right now, and she's not happy with where she is. So how dare you come in as an intelligent Black man with a plan for himself, which is exactly the type of man we say that we want. But when we haven't dealt with our own ish and are insecure about the choices that we have made, and you said children, so I don't know if she's been previously married, but that doesn't sound like a woman who's been previously married. That sounds like a woman who's definitely had potentially children with maybe a couple of different men, made not the greatest choices in who she's had as a father for her children. And now you're sitting in front of her and she's feeling judged. You weren't judging her. It's because she's judged herself, but she's projecting onto you. So I say kudos for apologizing. You're a bigger person than I would. I wouldn't even apologize. I would have gotten the check and been like, have a good life, be healed. Maybe here is a number to a therapist, but God bless you. I'd love to hear what Twins got to say, because I'm just not that nice.
Oh man, I love how you handled that situation there. But yeah, she was definitely triggered when you started asking a question about your CNA and what your plans. She was definitely triggered. You hit a sore spot, right? And honestly, I probably did the same thing. I'm like, check please, and I'd be like, oh, my apologies, that was not my intention, whatever. Because I only know no bad juju on me. I don't want her to feel as I'm attacker, so I'm gonna let her have that. Like, you know what? I'm sorry that I made you feel a certain way, even though by me saying that, I'm still taking a shot. Like, really, you that dumb and that insecure that you think I'm coming at you? But okay, I'm sorry. I'm man enough to say my bad if I came at you a certain way. That wasn't my intention. I was just trying to get to know you. But you know what? This ain't gonna. No need to be on bad terms. No beef, none of that. I'm gonna take my check, pay your bill. You have a good night. That's it. So, hey, you handled it like a G. Now I want to hear the second story.
Yeah, I definitely want to hear the second story, but let me actually go back. You said a word that is my favorite word, and I talk about this all the time. Ladies, attention versus intention. There are a lot of men who will give us attention because we have a vagina. A man like Shelby, who's taking the time to future plan with you, he wants to know what your life would look like because he wants to see if you're a woman who could fit into his life. Is this a woman with goals and dreams and aspiration? And as she develops, are we working together for a common goal? That is a man who's being intentional. A lot of the times we have babies for men who only showed us attention. And then later on in life, we're looking for men with intention. And then we're so insecure because of the attention versus intention that we run good men like Shelby and Twins away. I'm just saying.
Also,
what's the name of your church, sister? I need to come hear you preach Sunday sermon.
And also to add to that too, most men, not all men, but most men, we don't care where you currently at, right? As far as where you're in positions. She was CNA, right? We know, but we know the sky's the limit in the health field, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you tell me that, okay, I'm starting here as a CNA, whatever, but I plan to be a nurse, registered nurse, whatever, but the steps need to be done. If you tell me that you have a roadmap that you plan on, there's potential there.
Yeah.
There's potential there. But when you say, that attitude she had, I'm like, oh, okay. You're pretty much stagnant. You're cool where you're at, and you don't want no man trying to tell you what you should be doing. And I'm not trying to tell you. I can see it in the future. If you just stay talking to that lady and y'all got into a relationship because you're trying to be cool, that'd been a problem later on. Like, you can't say nothing to her. Like, hey, babe, I ain't doing it. I've been doing something. See, I see multiple layers happening. Yeah. So you dodged the bullet there.
Yeah. Please too. Okay, so dating story number 2. Go ahead.
No, This one was way back. I'm 50. I'm 51. I'm about to turn 52. This was back when I was I was probably 33. But I was dating a woman right around my same age range. And this is around the time in America where we had a resurgence, particularly in the Black community, where it was really, truly, respect a woman's space. Respect. This is when it started entering in. If, be mindful. If she wants to be touched, if she doesn't want to be touched, don't try to force yourself on her. And, and I've always tried to be very aware of what the culture is accepting and what the culture is not accepting. So here I am on my date. And mind you, we had already been on previous dates. So if I had, because my memory is not exact, this was probably our fourth or fifth date. And, we made the decision, and it was a us decision. We made a decision to go to an observatory in the daytime on a Saturday and have a picnic on the lawn. So I was responsible for packing the picnic basket. She was responsible for bringing the blanket. We were going to have a great afternoon date, possibly let it lead into the evening. So we're there. We're having a date. It's going well. I did the little ghetto charcuterie board thing, and and we had a great little outdoor picnic, everything. So now we're packing up the vehicle. We're getting ready to drive. I'm getting ready to drive her back, because I want to make sure that, I'm respectful. Do you want to change clothes? Do you want to take a shower? What you want to do? Do you want to extend and go further? We get in the vehicle, and she literally says, as we're entering into the vehicle, I got to drive her to her house. And I'll never forget, this was the quietest drive I've ever had in my dating life. But as soon as we get in the vehicle, she just goes, I'm just going to ask you outright, are you a homosexual? And I said, what? And she said, well, this whole entire time we've been together, you ain't tried to touch me once. You ain't even tried to put your hand on my leg or anything. You ain't even tried to hold my hand. Are you a down low dude? And I was like, no, but I am going to take you home. Thank you so much. And I just drove her home. And when I said that was the quietest drive, literally I had to drive her to her apartment. And it was probably a 25, 30-minute drive. And we did not say one word to each other. And I was so highly disgusted. And it was on that day, it was on that day that I really, truly was like, I think our people are hurt, like damaged, because she couldn't understand what being respectful was. And but hey, that was many years ago. But that was the very worst dating experience I've ever had in my life.
Wow. Wow. Now, granted, I'm gonna just, as a woman, ladies, if you are concerned if whether a man is physically attracted to you, because actually that was really what she wanted to know. She wanted to know if you were physically attracted to her. And again, she was feeling insecure about herself because in her mind, if you're physically attracted to me, you're going to be all over me, because that is very much like what she is likely accustomed to. When a man is physically attracted to her, he's all over her. Goes right back to my point 5 minutes ago, attention versus intention, right? A lot of people mistake that. I think what she could have done is said, Shelby, we've been on a few dates. I've noticed that you haven't tried to be physical with me. I'd love to talk about this. I actually, find you quite attractive. I love the time that we're spending together. And I just want to know, is this something that we need to talk about? Is this something that, are you attracted? And just come out, she could have straight asked, are you attracted to me? Because I'm definitely attracted to you and I'd love to see where things go. I think that's a very different conversation than, are you a homo? How would you have responded to that, Shelby?
Oh, I would have responded to that very, I'd have answered the question. I would have told her, because it was an honest, legitimate question. Now, you probably don't know about me, but I'm not, highly educated as a black man, meaning I'm not collegiate educated. I am very much what you would call a regular average black man. I do read, I do self-educate, but at the same time, I do not in that way, I guess. And I don't know what Canada is like, but in America, I don't try to wear my education on my sleeve. Like, if I know some things, I know some things, but I don't want my brothers and sisters to feel like I'm trying to make them feel little about it. So in my growing up, I've never shied away from being around my peoples, no matter what their economic or social status. My preference for black women, and maybe twins, maybe you can understand this, brother, because it sounds like you're here in America with me. I love a woman from the projects. I've always loved a project chick. We have me growing up, I've loved a girl with tree color hair. I love a woman. I love a woman that know what to do with, Kraft macaroni and cheese and, and the white label beans,
What is a white label bean? I'm sorry. I grew up maybe a little. Go on. Never mind me. Go on.
No. All I'm trying to say is I know exactly the type of women I find attraction or being attracted to, and it has never changed over the years. I've just always made sure that when I present myself in such a way that this woman doesn't feel like she doesn't have the option or the opportunity to get to know me. It has been hit or miss over the years, but like when I say that was my worst experience, it was just that woman or that young lady, because again, I was like 31, 32. She might've been 29, but at the end of the day, most of the sisters that I encounter, whether they be a CVS worker or a CNA or, a receptionist at a law firm, these women are pretty much, for the most part, receptive. It's just, like I said in my comment, in these latter days, most women, and mind you, I've dated women from 30 all the way up to 60. Most women have been money conscious in these last 5-10 years. But before that, it really truly has ran the gamut. I've had success. I've had no success, but that was my worst. So to answer your question succinctly, I apologize for having a soliloquy. To answer your question succinctly, yes, I would have answered the question if she would have asked it in that manner, because that is a genuine question that deserves an answer. It really, truly is.
So let me ask you this. Going out, because you said he was in 31, 32, you said around that time, early 30s?
Yes, sir.
Were you at that time, were you dating intentional? Like, were you in the process of looking for a wife possibly at that time?
Yes, because I had just come, and when I say just come out of, not like one day to the next, but I had just came out of my knucklehead stage. And I was a knucklehead from 19 to about 29, 30. And when I say knucklehead, I'm pretty sure you know exactly what that means. So I was, I had just, I had a couple of mentors, a couple of older men who grabbed me up out of the streets, told me how to dust myself off and that's when I began reading, and reading things that were necessary for me as a black man in America. And I began to change how I view black women. Like, I can clearly say before that time, before my 30th birthday, I was hard on a woman. When I say I was hard on a woman, I was hard on a woman. And I'm not trying to be theatrical. I was very hard on a woman, like really true. And after encountering those mentors, yes, I changed my ways, and I was a different man when it came to the women.
Oh yeah, because by listening to everything you said, because you say you like them project check girls, you like the hood girls. So I had listened to you, and it makes sense now. So prior to you go into the route of looking for marriage or being in a serious relationship, the old you would have jumped on that the first day. She just caught you at a different time in your life. Like you were changing to be a better man, a different man at that time. And yes, he definitely dodged a bullet at that time. So that's why at that time she thought something wrong with you. Was nothing wrong with you. You just caught a different version of myself. If I was the old me, I'd have been knocked you down and it would have been no conversation. Right?
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, you were just at a different point in your life at the time when you met her. Unfortunately, she wasn't that woman. So you dodged the bullet. So it is what it is. But I'm sure you was pissed, because I know I've been pissed if a woman accused me of being in that category.
Not part of the LB letters.
I'm like, girl, I will knock down your whole family. Like, let's not play that game.
You are not lying.
Sister, your cousin.
And what I have learned over the years, and I think a lot of us Black men, and I'm pretty sure you know this now, twin, and you can agree with me. Men aren't supposed to raise women. Like, that was probably where my head was at that time. Like, here I am in a new place. I'm on a new path. I'm doing new things. Like, let me go get one of my sisters from where I was. Let me raise her up with me now that I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps in front of her. And what I've learned over the years is, no, that's not what you do. You know, that's not your daughter. You don't raise a woman. You do your best to meet a woman, and hopefully she's where you at, and you two can grow together. Mm-hmm. You know.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this, Shelby. Have you ever been married?
Twice.
Oh, how did those go? Were they women from the hood, the project?
One was an ex-gangbanger. Yeah. No, it ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing. Oh, it was lovely, but it was lovely, but it was a beautiful rocket. It went up in a glorious fashion, but boy, it came down fast. But it's not her fault. She was younger than I. Considerably younger than I. She was like 7 years younger than myself. She had a young son, and she didn't know how to be a wife in that real innocent way. She was trying to play wife, didn't know how to be a wife. I probably really, truly didn't know how to be a husband. And so we just parted ways after about, we didn't even make 2 years. Like, we filed divorce papers shortly after our first year anniversary. Beautiful woman, though. Beautiful woman. Second marriage, I will say that was my fault, because I had began therapy around 2015. I had began opening up. Oh, we got married in 2014. I began counseling in 2015. And as I began tapping into these things and taking in the tools that the therapist was offering to me, I began to rediscover some things about myself. Mm-hmm. And as I began to discover these things, I didn't know how to properly communicate it to her. And I made a very bad life decision attempting to support a friend in a different state. And so we moved across country. I encouraged her to leave her job, which was paying very well. And when I say very well, she was working for one of the top insurance companies in America in their financial brokerage division. And she was a senior vice president at the time. Wow. So she gave all of that up for me on my word as her husband, who was telling her, these are my friends who we can trust. And we moved to this state, and my friend ended up flipping out on me. And so I could not stay. I literally got to the point to where it would have came to gunplay. So I had to really, truly admit to her that I made this mistake. And on top of that, I'm doing counseling over the cell phone, because this was before, This was before Zoom and everything. So I'm doing weekly counseling sessions and I'm opening up more and more and more, but I'm afraid to reveal these new positions in life, and I didn't know how to communicate it fully. And I'm going through this issue with this man. Now, mind you, none of this is an excuse for my behavior, but when we ended up having to move back from being across country, I then turned around and had an inappropriate relationship with a coworker. It didn't go sexual, but it was very much inappropriate. And, it caused her to have to be like, I can't trust you. I don't know if, we're going to make it. She retreated back to her family home in the Northeast, and we never recovered. So she never came back. And we ended up selling the house and splitting the equity we had in it. And, we filed divorce papers after that. So I'm now straight. I know who I am. I know how I want my life to go. I'm still in therapy, not with that therapist, but with a different therapist, a black man. Black men go to therapy, if you're listening. And yeah, so now since 2018, so 2018 to today, I have been actively dating, sporadically dating. But like I said, for the most part, I still have my same, and I'm going to use this word, predilections. I still have my likes. And a lot of sisters today, like I said, within the last 3 to 5 years, a lot of sisters simply just on conversation alone, I don't even get to the first date with them. I really, truly don't. I can't even get out of the talking stage with them.
And what are the things, and I love, because again, as a man who's been married, it's clear that you can commit. And I think, ladies, there are some ladies who will want to run away from a man when he says he's been divorced. I'm like, yeah, great. Let me know more, because it means that you want to commit. Like, you intentionally committed to someone. Like, bring me a divorcee any day. Like, my next husband likely would have been divorced because he wanted to commit. So for the ladies, what is not even getting you past that first initial? What are ladies saying and or not saying that's not even bringing them to the first date?
Most common issue is, and I know sisters hear this quite often, you're wearing your achievements on your sleeve. Like, for real, for real. I don't care if
That
you're a
twin's
CEO.
That twin's almost dropping his mic.
That's a fact. That's a
I'm
fact,
for real, for real.
I don't mean to cut you off, sir. But
go ahead. Say what you say, brother.
Y'all wearing y'all accomplishments on y'all sleeves. Like, I got this degree. I run this business. I make this much money. Like, you sound like a man to me. Like, us men, we could be in a group of room. We don't sit here and talk about our accolades of what we do. We talk about sports, whatever else. But y'all come to the table, and this is where the conversation comes from. What you bring to the table, right? That's where it comes from. We come and we're just talking about this getting to know each other, relationship, XYZ. If you're doing the same thing I'm doing as far as on the this talking level, like, I pay my bills, you pay your bills. I got a car. Like, I'm talking to a brother. I'm not talking to a woman. I'm like, tell me something soft about you. Oh, I love cooking. I love making food from scratch. You give me some water, some bread, some seasoning, I'll make something for you. Like, that's the shit I want to hear. I'm nurturing. Oh, you feed her, I rub your feet. Like, stuff like that. You telling me that, oh, I could buy this, could buy that. I'm like, that's cool, because I can buy my own stuff.
So that's a good point. And not to cut you, Shelby. So let me ask you this for the ladies. When would you bring up your accomplishments? So for instance, right, like, I don't feel like I tend to do that, but I'm very proud of the things that I have accomplished in my life, right? Like, I've held very important positions. I do very important things. And outside of that, like, I'm an author. I have written 9 books. I have these 2 shows. I have a radio show. Like, I've done, I have passion projects that are doing things. When would I bring that up in a conversation? Would I ever bring that up in a conversation? Like, if a gentleman says to me, what, he wants to write books, I often say, oh my God, you know what? Are you looking for a traditional publisher? Do you want to go self-publish? I've done this. I've written books. So if you want any advice, I'd love to give you advice. Let me know. Is that appropriate to bring up if they ask me, you know, what are some of the things that are your passion projects? I tell them about this show and putting it together on my other show and that stuff. Is that appropriate or is that masculine to you, gentlemen?
So
Go ahead, Twin.
I'll just say this real quickly here. Listen, we like to hear all the accomplishments and things that you got going on with yourself, right? Cool, great. You're a book writer. Awesome. You got shows. Awesome. That's great, right? Because the conversation's going to happen. If I'm trying to learn and get to know you, I want to know who you are, your history, and what you're doing, right? That's on one conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear the same shit every goddamn day. That's the problem we talking about. Like we get in an argument. Oh, I do this, I do that, I do this. Like that's what we talking about.
Got it.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm done. Go ahead, Shelby. You have something different to add to that. Go ahead.
Ditto. That's all I can say. Ditto. Because at the end of the day, if I meet you casually, you know, everybody knows Starbucks. I meet you casually at Starbucks. Hi, I'm Shelby. Hi, I'm Toshiba. Hey, Toshiba, you seem like you're a nice young lady. I am a nice young lady because you seem like you got confidence. I do have confidence. Oh, well, what are you doing in life? Now you're going to run down your resume. Depending on your resume, I may say, wow, you are a nice woman. And if I got the vocabulary, you enjoy the rest of your day. If I'm that kind of gentleman, hey, let me pay for your coffee. Let me pay for your pastry. And then we move on with the rest of the day. And I think about Toshiba, who has this long resume. Now, if I think to myself that your resume, even as long as it is, does not move me, because as a man, I have a resume too. Now, I run down my resume. Well, Toshiba, you know, I've been in stormwater management for the past 10 years. I'm officially a plumber. I went through the union. You know, I've been an apprentice for 5 years. I've been a journeyman plumber for better than 20 years. You know, I'm thinking about starting a business now. You know, I used to have a bit of a past, but I cleaned my life up at 30 years old. You know, I've been married twice. If I choose to give all that out, but basically what Twin is saying is exactly that. Once you ran your resume down, after that, I want to know who Toshiba is. I don't want to keep hearing that Toshiba is an author, that Toshiba has these many degrees, that Toshiba has accomplished this and accomplished this. That don't all those accomplishments and $1.95 will get you that same cup of coffee.
Oh.
So it don't matter. Let me say this, if only us three hear me say this, and I apologize for sounding like I own something. But a man who is a man that knows he's a man will never be intimidated by how great of a woman you are. He'll never. So when I hear women talk about, oh, he was intimidated by me, no, he wasn't. He just didn't like the way you said what you said. That's just all it is. Now, yes, there are men out there who can be intimidated. Yes, that's true. There are some men out there who can. There are some men who are little boys walking around as grown men. I will never deny that. But for the most part, you can meet a man whose job is washing cars at a car wash. If he's a man, he don't care that you're a doctor. You can never intimidate him, because what he'll tell you is, I guarantee you'll be the doctor that got the best washed car that ever pulled into that hospital.
I listen, I love this discussion. And for those who are listening, make sure you are sending these shows to your friends, because we're having grown adult conversation. These conversations are for grown folks, right? Like the 20 and 30 something year olds, they got their shows. This is for grown, mature adults, because you are so right. I as a woman, hate that. I don't think I've ever met a man who was intimidated by me. He just maybe didn't like me. Maybe I wasn't his cup of tea. Maybe he didn't like me. Ladies, it's okay. Sometimes men just don't like us. Sometimes we come off abrasive. Sometimes we come off domineering. Sometimes we come off in ways that men don't like. It's not intimidation. It's just that they don't like us. It's okay. They don't like you. Move on. Move on to the men that does like you. Move on to the men who does see the value in you. Stop trying to convince men because you want them that you're good for them. No, that's never gonna work. You know what I like to do as we got a couple of minutes. Twins, you still got some time?
Yeah, I'm good.
Listen, I'd love to do a mock date. Are you down for it, Shelby, to do a mock date with me?
I'm sure I got mock money.
You know what? I'd love to do a mock date to see and get Twins' opinion about, again, some of the pitfalls that women fall into when we are having a dating situation. So, for instance, when we're asked what we do for a living and so forth. So, if you've got some time and if you can just have some patience for me to go through this, I'd love to do a mock date. Are we good?
I'm straight.
Okay, so let's say we are at the restaurant. We're sitting there. We're getting to know each other. I'll let you start off, Shelby, and ask me the questions that you would typically ask on a first date.
Okay. Leading in, we've been seated. We've been handed our menus.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I'm really thankful that you agreed to meet me here today. I'm hoping that the Uber driver was well. Hopefully he picked you up correctly and was right there at your spot. I gave him the address that you gave to me. Was it a comfortable ride?
It was so amazing. He was actually really nice. I learned where he was from. He had moved into the country just a few months ago. He told me about his family back in Pakistan. I learned a little bit about them. It was awesome. So thank you for doing that for me. It was much appreciated.
You're more than welcome. I'm glad it was a comfortable ride for you. So have you ever been to this place before? I know it's the Brazilian spot. You said you like Brazilian food. You didn't say it was your favorite. What is your favorite food?
My God, great question. I have not been to this place, but it comes highly recommended. So thank you for choosing it. I told my girlfriends I was coming and they've been here before. So they recommended a few things that I should have. My favorite food actually is seafood. Do you enjoy seafood?
Oh, I love seafood. As a matter of fact, I just came back from a trip. Me and some of my friends went deep sea fishing off the coast of Mexico. That's, I supplemented that as my yearly trip because I try to get, some type of solo travel in every year. But yeah, to answer your question without being long-winded, yes, I do. I love seafood. I mostly enjoy fish, crab. I'm not too big on scallops. I'm allergic, or I think I'm allergic because I can eat crab, but I get kind of scratchy in the throat when I eat shrimp. What about you? Is there anything you're allergic to? Anything you see on the menu that you can't eat?
No, nothing. I actually just don't eat pork. Pork is not my thing. But to get back to your trip, that sounds amazing. Do you do that often? Is this a trip that you take yearly? Like, how often do you go on that fishing trip?
The fishing is something I don't do. I just did it as a whim. One of my boys, he loves it. But, I don't want to spend too much time on my likes. What about your likes? Do you do solo traveling? Or are you like a big group travel person?
Oh my God. So I love spending time with myself. So I've actually done solo vacations. You know what's so funny? I'll have to tell you this funny story. So I went to the Dominican by myself. It had been a stressful work year and I took some time to go to the Dominican. It was an all-inclusive. And I remember just being, every time I was at dinner, couples would try to invite me to sit with them because they felt so bad for me because they thought somehow I'd been stood up or, broke up a relationship. But I was just telling them I just wanted some time for myself because I feel like if you can't enjoy your own company, then how can other people enjoy you? So, I went on vacation. I like to read when I'm there. I'm not on anybody's schedule. I get to do what I want to do. I mean, I love to travel. I'm originally from Jamaica. And so I've had a passport since I was a very young child. I, definitely want to get some more stamps in my passport. What about yourself? Do you travel often?
Not as much as I would want to travel, having the type of career that I have, I really truly have to be focused, and, I have some extended hours from here to there. I started off in the trades and whatnot, but again, not to focus too much on myself, but for you, hearing that you've been to the Dominican, ¿tú hablas español?
No, I'm doing Duolingo though, because I do want to learn Spanish so that I can better communicate when I'm there. So I've done the Dominican, I've done Cuba, I've done Mexico. I've often thought about maybe retiring in a Spanish-speaking country. So one of the things I want to do is to be respectful to their culture and make sure that I at least understand. Like I know hola and like I know how to baña or baño, the bathroom, mujeres. Like I know those words, but I sound terrible trying to speak Spanish. So I'm really trying to be respectful of the language and learn a little bit more. What about yourself? Do you speak Spanish fluently?
Habla poquito español. I only know dos
You said you know a
palabras.
little bit. See, I know that. I know that part.
Dos palabras, tres palabras. I don't know too much. But if I was to go to,
I know what you said there. What did you say?
Oh, I just said that I know a little bit, 2-3 words. That's enough. Just enough to get myself in trouble. That's all.
So,
but
have you ever traveled to Mexico or any of the Spanish-speaking islands?
I've been to Brazil in my youth, and then I did a backpack exposition from Colombia all the way up through Panama, through the canal, the Suarez Canal, I think that's called. I can't remember.
The Suez Canal?
Suez Canal, yes. It's been so long ago. I was a young lad. I was a young guy. And then we went all the way from Panama all the way up to Nicaragua, and that's where I stopped, flew across the Gulf back to Atlanta, because at that time my family was living in North Carolina. So I that's pretty much my Latin American experience. But it's more amazing. Than that, how did you were born in Canada? You were born in Jamaica? Your family migrated? What's the history with that?
No, I was born in Jamaica. Most of my family is Jamaican. My daughter is first generation Canadian. Actually, all of my nieces and nephews are first generation in the country that we're currently in. But my mother and father are both Jamaican, generations of Jamaican. My mother emigrated to Canada, and my father, who I was living with at the time, I was actually raised by my father from say 0 to 9. He then eventually sent me to live with my mother. That's generally what happens in Jamaica, is that one parent or both parents emigrates, and then eventually they'll bring up the children. And so the immigrant experience can be very, very different. What about your family? Are you Americans, like generations of Americans? Do you have another culture?
No, I am black mixed with black from America. And so the migration, the family migration was from one plantation to the next plantation. But yes, no, I am originally from the South, Georgia, to be specific. My parents divorced when I was young. My mother remarried, and I ended up moving to California. So that's why you may notice this little muddled Southern accent. I traveled back and forth from the time I was like 11 all the way up until my graduation. After graduating high school in the Central Coast of California, which would be called the Monterey Bay, I joined the military, ended up going into the Army. Because of being in the Army for 4 years, I've been around the world twice, basically. The only countries I have not had the opportunity to see are Ireland and Israel. I haven't had a chance. My best travel experience during my military career was Japan and Turkey. I heard you say that you would like to, retire, possibly move to a Latin American country.
Yeah.
For me, I really truly am desiring to see what the continent of Africa is like as as someone who needs to know his heritage. But outside of the continent of Africa, I fell in love with Greece the first time I went. I don't know what it was about that country, but it was something about that country that just touched my soul. The people, the food, so fresh. And then once I got out the military, I got into entertainment, production side, film and television shortly. So I moved to Los Angeles, where I stayed for almost 20 years. And then after the end of my first marriage, I ended up meeting my second wife while I was doing some nonprofit work and ended up moving back to the East Coast. Unfortunately, that marriage did not survive. And from that point on to today, I went back to my roots. I'm formerly trained as a union plumber. And so now I've been in what is called municipal work, public works in America. So I work for a small municipality in the stormwater division.
Wow.
And go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, wow, your life sounds fascinating. I look forward to learning more about it and end date, because I don't want to keep us too long. But twins, thoughts about our mock date here?
Oh man, so the conversation is very informative on both sides, right? I could see y'all having a date number 2, date number 3, depending on how you receive each other's information. I like how he wanted to learn more about you. I like how he spun it back. Oh, enough about me. Tell me more about you. Like y'all was going back and forth with a tit for tat. Like I don't know. Y'all was on a really good date. I can see the drinks going on. Great conversation. You might have did the dab in your food a little bit, but y'all probably gonna be at the bar, whatever restaurant you're at, for maybe an hour and a half or so. Easy.
I love that too. What I, my biggest thing is always to follow up. I'm a big follow-up question. So he told me about the fishing. I want to learn more because I might be interested in fishing. Is it something that he likes? And then it actually led to being able to talk about seafood, because my next thing was going to ask him, are you allergic to anything? Because I want to be respectful of my date, that I don't order anything off the menu that he might have allergies to. Because I'm also thinking, if I kiss him at the end of the night, right? Like if I have the crab, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't want issues. So that's how I would, typically have a first date. But to you gentlemen, just to wrap up, are these the types of first dates you're now having, or are the first dates, does that mean, Shelby, actually, before we get into that, Shelby, what were your thoughts about our mock date?
Oh no, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the mock date. And truthfully, like you said, my job, or I believe my job, is to not drive the conversation, but like you said, ask the correct questions to get enough information from you so that I can show you that I'm interested in you. I really want to know who you are. I really want to know about your life. And that's why I try to tie mine in on the back end and make like a little comical statement, because I do believe comedy can help you remember a little bit better. But once I answer this, I'm gonna go away so you guys can finish. But and yes, I do believe that dates like this can happen frequently. But at the end of the day, me and your date being a mock date was very different, because when I deal with women in the locale where I live, which is here in the Southeast, I don't have to talk about so much because, and I'm sure Twin knows this, most Black Americans don't travel extensively. So we end up talking about local things a lot, and so that can kind of stifle a date. So you end up talking about local stuff. So you end up talking about local politics, local, whatever. But that's how a lot of Black women in America end up talking about their accomplishments so much, because unfortunately, and I hope a sister is listening, she might say something different. A lot just are not worldly. They aren't full of knowledge from the world. They just know about their local area, what's going on where they live. And so it kind of confines the conversation. So that's why I'm saying it's hard for me to get out of the talking stage to even get to the first date. Y'all enjoy your evening.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you. Hopefully you keep watching. We're gonna, you know what was so funny? What I wanted to ask Twins is, and I love your opinion on this, is at what point, say for instance, the fact that he brought up that he was in the military, and he brought up that he was divorced. When is it appropriate for me, if I'm in this actual situation, to bring up the fact that, one, I was married to a military man, I am also divorced, and to ask him questions related to whether or not he had any long-term effects of being in the military? Because being a former military wife, I know that my husband had long-term effects, both mentally and physically, by being in the Air Force. And I want to make sure that if Shelby were someone that I were to continue dating, that I'm addressing something that I've experienced in the past.
Yeah, I would say at the time when he said he got divorced, right, and he joined the military, that's when you enter that part right there with those questions. I think that's a fair time, fair communication. Nothing wrong with talking about that initially, just to get it out there. And the conversation may go a different route, but I think that's a good time to talk about it.
Okay, because that's exactly what I was thinking of doing. Again, I'm conscious of the time, and we you've got a life. People don't necessarily want to be watching us for 2 hours, but that's exactly what I was thinking. I didn't know if there's a fear around bringing up past relationships, but what I try to do is tie it to something my date has said, and wanting to make sure that I get some of those critical questions out of the way, especially, when a man says the military, I think about the impacts. Are you being supported by the military? Were there any impacts if you were in war? Were there, again, mental health impacts? Have you dealt with those things? All of those things I want to ask. And I think there's some fear around, when to ask questions and when to not ask questions.
Oh, no, totally agree. The only thing when it comes about the ex is that as you keep talking, you not keep saying the same thing over. Oh, my ex this. Oh, my ex this. Like, let's not keep talking about your ex. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You keep going back to that same one over and over again about each scenario. Oh, yeah, me and ex travel here. Me and my ex went here.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, can you tell you something different that doesn't require your ex? You understand what I'm saying?
Got it. Yeah. And Mr. did say that he brought it up, so it's on the table to talk about now. And that's how I always feel about it, right? Like, it's because I like to mirror, and that's what ladies need to understand. There's a mirror effect to a good date, right? We were mirroring each other. He went back to, so, your family background. So you're from Jamaica. And so then I was able to talk and bring it back to, all of that stuff. He talked about his travels. I would have talked about my travels. Had we continued, I would have said, the continent's also on my list. I want to travel to Lagos and Johannesburg and all those different places. And, I'd ask him about, would you ever reside in Ghana? Because again, Ghana is, having the welcoming people back to come out and live in Ghana. Is that something you would consider? So ladies, I think that's the key to a good date, is being able to mirror and really having a conversation. I think sometimes what happens is ladies, to his point, if you're not worldly, maybe you're not, I'm trying to find the best word. Maybe you are just not in a place where you might feel comfortable. Again, there's a lot of insecurity in dating, right? There's a lot of insecurity that has to do with us as women and who we are as people. And a lot of us know we don't measure up to what we think the man we want wants. I think a lot of women will be intimidated when Shelby starts talking about the things that he's done and going to Brazil and doing the trek and leaving out of Nicaragua, and the fact that the only two countries he didn't get to see was Israel and God, I forgot the other country he said, but like, because they haven't been anywhere. And instead of asking, oh my God, that's fascinating. I haven't traveled a lot, but I would love to travel. Can you tell me tales about your travel? They kind of shut it down for their own insecurities and go to a space that makes them feel comfortable. Because the funny part about it, to me, the more a man speaks, the more he reveals, and you actually will get to the money part without ever asking him how much money he makes.
That's true. That's true.
Like, broke men are not, ladies, like, that's a tip. Broke men aren't traveling. Like, no, seriously, broke men are not traveling. Broke men, first of all, there's a couple of things that you find out when a man travels. He can get a passport, which means he does not have a criminal record, and he does not owe child support. So you find out two critical things. He doesn't have a criminal record, and he's not on child support. Because if you have either one of those, the government, as I understand it, in America does not issue you passports. So that's already revealed.
You can be on child support and still have a passport. It's only when you're behind.
Yeah, I mean that part. Like, he's not delinquent in his child support. Like, being on child support, you're clearly paying it, but he's not delinquent with his child support. So you find out those things, and you also clearly know that he doesn't have a criminal record, right? Then as he starts talking about traveling, he's got to have some bread. I mean, he's not talking about you don't need a passport if you're going to Texas, right? If you're driving from South Carolina to Alabama, that doesn't require a passport. But when a man starts talking about going out of the country, and then you ask him, how long did you stay there? You kind of start getting an idea about, okay, this might be a man who does very well for himself because he's able to travel. And I think women are just going about dating the wrong way. I think a lot of women are bad daters, and we just don't want to admit we're bad daters. Oh, wow. Okay, Mr. is just going to drop the mic on us, and I think this is where we might end the discussion. Mr. says, I cannot add to that. I haven't dated an American woman since I started traveling internationally. Back then, I had traveled all over America, though. They thought it was interesting, but couldn't relate. My last comment before we sign up. I have to be honest. I don't understand that. I don't understand. And again, I've heard people say America's just a big country, and there's no reason for me to travel outside of the country. And because America's such a great country, let me tell you something. How is a man going to tell me I'm the most beautiful woman he's ever met if he ain't never been nowhere? Like, sir, you've been to 3 cities in the state that you live in. How you gonna know I'm the most beautiful woman you've ever met? You ain't been nowhere. So ladies, stop this. Like, how are you going to understand what you want from a man and all the things that you need if you've never been outside of your city? Please get passports and go. I have been to 3 continents. I have been to, I know that I've been to 20 to 25 US states. I've been to 5 Canadian provinces. Like, I like to travel. And even within your states, I've been to several cities within the states. And that's not even large. I've got my girlfriends who have been to more countries than I can count on my fingers and my toes, right? Like, my daughter's had a passport since she was 8 months old. She's 22. I think my daughter's on her 4th or 5th passport. Like, it's crazy to me to say that you bring all of this to the table, but your table's only been in one location. Like, I don't know. I don't know. That's crazy work to me. I don't know. Twins, final words as we log off.
This was a good show. I have no final words. It was a lot was said today. This was a really good show. I hope people got something out of it. I know they got something out of it. So this was a dope show. I don't have no final words, but good night.
I love that. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure that you're liking, make sure that you're sharing this, making sure you're telling your mama, your grandmother, your father, your uncle, your people in jail, your homie, the ex-gangbanger that used to hang out. Tell them all about okay, Fuck Your Feelings, the show. Tell them about the Chop Team and Twins Inc. as well. We will be doing more of these shows clearly in the upcoming weeks. I will be putting the link from now on. I will be putting the link and pinning it in the comment section before every show, so you have an opportunity to reach out to us and to join the show. If you have a topic idea, please email me at fyftheshow@gmail.com. So fyftheshow@gmail.com. And we will choose your topic idea and talk about it. But this is a community, everyone. Everybody here has a space. Everybody here has a voice. We want to hear from you. We want to converse, because that's the only way we're going to move the conversation forward. So I thank everyone. Look out for what we'll be talking about next week. Again, if you have any topic idea, just hit me up and we will definitely talk about it. So thank you, everyone, for joining. Go out. Have a good night. I'm going to go eat my dinner now. Bye.
Good night.